Hi, I'm Matt from hockeyreviews.ca, and this is the Warrior Covert QRL stick review. So firstly, thank you to Warrior and Berto from Proclaimed Hockey for selecting me as a VIP in order to get this stick to do the review. I appreciate it, and this review should have come out a long time ago. I apologize for that as well. So the quick summary of this is that it's my favorite stick, and it's whenever I need performance in my game or something feels off, I'll always come back to this stick just to make sure everything will feels right and I start playing better. It's the best overall stick for me. It doesn't mean it's the best in everything. For shooting, it's the second best stick I've ever used in terms of quick release and shot power, but at the same time, it's the most consistent shooting stick I have. I feel like I miss less shots with this stick than anything else. I blame that to do with the very stiff blade that's in here. It's very pingy, and I absolutely love that. As well as the dagger taper is great for basically anything. For me, it's really good to get off quick shots from the point, and as well, slap shots, I'm pretty good with it too. I do have to work to keep them down a bit, but that's about it. The one thing that I really love about this stick, again, is the super pingy blade. And the reason is I find the feedback from a pingier blade and a more lively blade to be better for me for stick handling. With softer blades, I sometimes lose the puck based on where it is on my stick. With this, because it's so pingy, the feedback is always translated to my hands and I know exactly where the puck touched last. I really like that. I like it for playing when I play defense and poking pucks away from people too. It just gives that little bit more feel, and again, I'm a huge fan of that. Now, the one thing that the pingy blade isn't the best at is taking and receiving hard passes. And what I mean by that is I find a dampened blade is a little bit easier to basically pass. Just because you don't have to cradle it just as much. And I just feel like the feeling of passing with a little softer blade is just that much easier to make the pass and just hold on to the puck. This one you have to cradle it a bit more. Sometimes the puck will bounce off of it a bit more. And again, that's all personal preference. Like for me, I'd prefer the pingy feeling of this for the rest of the game and take that trade-off for making those passes. Or I could just get better hands. But again, I really like the pingy blade for like stick handling and shooting and everything like that. The blade has held up very well since I got it. It basically feels like it did the very first day. And yeah, there's very little wear on the blade. This was pretty, happened right away, and it's more just a paint chip or something like that, but it's not actual damage to the blade. And again, this has been used since April. I think about April. And it's been my primary, but I've also been switching between some others to do reviews on them. But I've used it more than anything else and a significant amount of time. So now, for the balance of this stick and for the weight of this stick. So this stick came in at 409 grams, and the balance of it is absolutely fantastic. It's probably the best weighted stick I currently have. Now, I have a EK60, which is supposed to be under 400 grams, but the wooden plug in it kind of ruins that. So I can't really comment on how that feels anymore because I used it with a plug for so long. But this one, compared to other sticks that are close in the range, is much more easy to use, and I feel like my dexterity, my hands are better with this stick. One stick I have been using is a CCM trigger, and it weighs about 440 grams, I believe, or maybe 430. But going from that to this stick, and I can instantly feel the difference in my hands. Now, you might think that isn't enough to make the difference, but when you're trying to lift your stick around somebody who's trying to stick lift you or battle in the corner, that does make a difference, and your hands just feel that much snappier. So it's really, this stick is fantastic for that. As well, with the weight, it doesn't feel like it has no blade, which some sticks I've had that were lightweight felt in the past, where it felt like you were just using a shaft, and the only time you knew the blade was there was when a puck hit it, basically, or you touch the ice with it. With this stick, you always know where the blade is at all times. The blade feels like it has not like weight to it in a negative sense, but you know it's there. So it's very well balanced in that sense. Now, The grip is something that I originally was skeptical about. I'm a fan of Warrior's Velvet Grip, which was on my AK-27, and this one's a little tackier, and it's like a glossy grip. And I do like the raised edges, as you can see there. I do really, really like that. Just gives it a bit more feeling on the stick, and you can feel it when your hands slide back and forth, as well as when you're wearing gloves. You can feel it's like almost like a ruler of where your hand's moving along the stick. It's just a nice touch, a nice feature. Now, like I said, I was a little bit skeptical about the grip, and this one isn't that tacky. So I'm very happy with what Warrior did with it. Again, I'd prefer a matte finish over anything else, but if I had to get another one of these, I'd probably go with this one again, just so I could get the corner details. As you can see, I really do like those, and I love the feel of this stick when I use it. Now, for one thing, this is a Hunter Flex, and I believe it plays similar to other brands' 85s or 87s. To me, it plays pretty close to my CCM Trigger 85 and my Sherwood 87. So I think that's why I got this 100 in Warrior. My previous 100 in Warrior did the same. So this was honestly, to me, pretty close to that, which is fine by me. It's just a heads up that these do feel like they play a bit whippier than what is labeled. So the curve, I'm not the biggest fan of because I like heel curves, and this isn't really a heel curve. Now, my favorite curves are W05s and Warriors, and but PP05s or Lindströms. I like the rounded toe a bit more, but it's basically the same. To me, it's pretty similar pattern. I just like it for passing better, and I like it for shooting because I can control the height on my shots a bit more. I don't try to go top corner. I try to go low, like just above the pad, and especially on like slap shots, stuff like that for tips. So this one, I do have to work a bit to keep it down. As well, backhand pass on these are much more difficult than with the heel curve. But again, that's just personal preference. And now for the graphics, and those don't really matter that much to me, but I'm going to talk about them anyways. One reason I really like Warrior is because you can talk to them and they'll answer your questions. And one of my questions was, why does this stick have an exposed blade but a painted shaft when the QRL Pro has the exposed carbon shaft all the way through, and it ends up showing up in between these letters? And I'll overlay a picture of that right now to show what I mean. And when I asked Warrior, their reasoning was NHL players like painted and pros like painted sticks. They don't like exposed carbon. An example of that is when you look at a lot of players that have painted sticks from like the hosel down. And again, it's just their preference, and Warrior's thoughts are their top of the line stick has to match what can be seen in the NHL. And I totally understand that and respect them for that. And I thank them for answering my question. For that, I do wish this was painted or unpainted like the QRL Pro was. I think it looks fantastic that way. I think the stick looks great the way it is. The branding is really good in the sense of you know what the stick is the moment you see it. It's a Covert series. The blue detailing, the baby blue detailing, the orange is all very, very Warrior, and it's very Covert. So I think they did a great job on that, and they started with the QR1, and they continued on this one, and they did a very nice job with there. I think the graphics are kind of interesting because they're not straight on, they're on an angle, as you can see, and it does create an interesting effect, as you can see through down there too, that it's not, when you look at it, it's not always right there. I'm not sure what the design reason was behind that. I think it looks pretty good. One big thing that I like, well, I do always love the Warrior logo on the heel. I like how the Covert is an outline, as well as up here where the Warrior letters themselves are not painted. They're just an outline. So it's using almost negative space to make the letters stand up, where the inside parts are actually, around the letters are painted, and the letters themselves are just the background color. And one thing I really, really like is how Warrior did the orange underside for the Dagger Taper 3. I just think that's a great little touch where the stick is black and then on the other side it's orange or white. Again, very noticeable, so you instantly know what this is back here. And again, it just makes a nice, appealing stick. Now, I guess that's about it for the looks. I think they did a great job on these. And they also came out with the retro designs for the Super Mac Daddy, I think the Dolomite as well, and they look really good as well. But I think this one looks fantastic. Now, the last thing about this stick is the durability. My previous experience with Warrior sticks, which was a DT1 LT, it went soft on me about 5 months in. And it was one of the best kicking sticks and best shooting sticks I had. And then it turned into a noodle. I am very happy to say that this stick feels like the very first day I got it. And I'm not making that up at all. Everything about this plays amazingly from, again, the very first day I got it. The blade feels just as stiff. The kick is just as good with just as quick as release. It doesn't feel like a noodle. I can't feel it flexing under my hands like it normally, or like it's getting softer. Everything about it just feels amazing. And I'm really happy about that. It was one of my worries when I got this stick, if that would happen. From my experiences, that's not the case, and this stick is great in terms of durability. Now, I guess that wraps it up for everything about this stick. And all I would say is I will absolutely recommend this to everyone. I think this is one of the better sticks on the market. I compare everything I pick up to this stick now. Again, it's not the best shooting stick I've ever used. It's the second best shooting stick. And now everyone does have personal preferences, and that's just how I feel. I've picked up the new 1N, the previous 1N, the new 1X. I've tried all of those in stores and on ice for demos, and I've still go back to the QRL. Just the overall feel of it is fantastic, and like I said, it's my go-to stick for when I actually need performance. I'm not going to say a stick. I do believe high-end sticks will make you a better player because they kind of do some of the work for you. But at the same time, I won't say like this is making me a better player. It's just easier to play and to make plays when you have a stick like this. The lightweight of it and the incredible balance makes it much easier to take pucks off people when you're defending or to knock pucks out of the air. The quick release makes you not have to think about it and load the stick as much. You just let it go and it goes. Everything about the stick is fantastic, and I would recommend it to everyone, and I definitely recommend checking them out. So again, thank you very much for watching this. Hopefully it was helpful. I apologize it wasn't out sooner. That's completely on me, and again, I apologize. So please subscribe to me on YouTube. The link is in the description, as well as my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. It just helps me get more products like this to review so I can give my feedback on them, and usually I'm a more timely matter of that. Like I reviewed the gloves months ago, so it was just, I'm not sure why I didn't get to this one. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful, and if you have any comments, please leave them below. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I'll answer them the best I can, and thank you for watching. Take care.